I'm going live.
Um,
Hello. We're just waiting for Kelly to come in.
Hello.
Hi, Kelly. Good evening. Okay, we're live. And seeing as this is our first live, if you have a look, we've got the live at the top on the to your right, and then it's when we're ready to stop the broadcast, we could stop it when we're ready. So we can do it as a test
Okay,
and just chat and talk.
wonderful. What's coming up with you? What do you want to talk about first?
Um, what do I want?
What we could talk about is what we were just talking about moments ago about how beliefs work and how thoughts create energy.
That's a good one.
Uh,
Yes. How
uh,
thoughts. And before we do that, can yeah, how yeah, let's do that. Yeah, you're right.
we can do that, and you can introduce yourself first and folks know who they're talking to or listening to.
Okay, and you want to do the same?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, I'm Glenda Andrew. Um, a lot of people call me by Lady G, and my website is Lady G Life. Um, I would say that I've been working on myself, um, wanting to know my purpose, what I'm here for, and I've met Kelly in the process of that in the last about about 4 or 5 months, Kelly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I believe that while I'm working on myself, on understanding the mechanics about our beliefs, about the body, about our mind, about the spirit, me and Kelly have developed, not just developed, but a great relationship that we have some great talks and we wanted to share on these hangouts on air. Kelly, would you like to say a little bit about you?
Well, I can say I'm going by Kelly Marie. And yes, this journey has been an amazing journey with me and greatly appreciate meeting Glenda and the work that's going to be done because of meeting Glenda and being able to share that with others. We feel very strongly that a lot can benefit from the conversations that we have because a lot of information comes through. I have the ability to let guidance get channeled through me. So a lot of the times as questions come up, the information comes from more spiritual source that I allow and become a conduit for. Um, I work very much as a healer, and the word healing takes on many, many forms, whether it's just nutrition, whether it's healing the body energetically, or healing beliefs, limited beliefs that keep you from being in the alignment with who you are, having experiences that you would rather have seen change, and becoming more of who you are, allowing one to know the relationship with self, because knowing oneself is the steps that need to be taken to be able to expand more and letting go of any kind of limitation that keeps you from being able to have that experience of a very excited, joyful state of being. So our desire and motivation and inspiration actually comes from those perspectives where we want to see people expand. We want to see them stay in alignment with who they are, which means allowing them to be happy in a state of joy and experiencing what you want to experience, all in the process of just getting rid of what keeps you from experiencing it. And it's a very, very, very excited place to be.
True.
And the work would be admitting it and acknowledging what's keeping you from it and learning something new about it and allowing yourself to expand from it and then allowing yourself to become who you are. And that's usually the difference between whether you're aligned with yourself or whether you're out of alignment is the limited beliefs that we have about what that means and the perspective of it. So as you work on letting go and going within, all of the answers are there and you get directed and guided to exactly what you need to hear. And that's what we're hoping from this, is that by showing up here and listening to some of the conversations that we have, our hope is that you find some expansion from it. That's as true. We all learn together and from one another.
That's true. Thank you, Kelly. As we said before, we're going to be talking about thoughts and beliefs. I wanted to go back though, because I think a lot of people have a different view of which comes first: the emotion, energy, thought, feeling. I think a lot of people get confused about the words, about what they mean. And I'd like to ask you some clarity that we can
That's
have.
a great place to start. Yeah, that's a very good question. And the understanding the mechanics of how things work always bring more clarity and more expansion from us. So you are an energetic, spiritual, eternal being already. So you already are energetic. You already are creating around you. What you're creating is the difference between you having a very joyful experience with the energy and sometimes the unwanted experience with the energy, or viewed as unwanted. However, all unwanted situations can bring you to more clarity about where you would like to be. So you can never really judge them as something bad that's occurring, but something to look at so you can fine tune where you are vibrationally. So all energy has a vibration. So you can say, I'm a vibration first, and then the thoughts enter. And if it's a thought so the thought is first.
Okay.
And whether you're excited about the thought that comes in, because not all thoughts create energy. But for them to vibrate into being, the emotion accompanies thought, whether you're passionate about it, drives the momentum of the thought further. Sometimes you just have a thought and you think it and you let it go and it doesn't mean anything more to you than it was just a nice idea or a thought. Sometimes you get great inspirations that you're very passionate about experiencing. And that creates a momentum with the energy. It creates more of a vibration to it and a momentum around it. So when you contemplate those thoughts, you are creating momentum for that to come to you. However, if there's resistance to the idea of actually being able to acquire which you're thinking on, which are beliefs, but any kind of resistance to the energy causes it to stay out of your spectrum for just a little bit until you can get rid of the friction that keeps it from showing up.
Okay. It's not clear for me still.
Okay.
And I think momentum, that comes up for me. Is what is momentum? There's something, I don't know if I'm blocking something or I'm not clear on it still. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. You can think of momentum. Let's make it very, very, very simple. Let's look at your kitchen sink, for example. When you turn on the water flows. If you turn it on all the way, the water flows out very strongly. There's a very strong stream of water. You could call it momentum because it's flowing. It's as open as it can be. There's no resistance to the water flowing. The momentum of the water is strong.
Okay.
You can think of friction as you turning it off a little bit, there's debris in the pipes that isn't allowing the water to flow. So as you're saying, well, I want $1 million, you are very strong about that. There's a lot of momentum around, I'm very passionate about wanting this money. However, your beliefs say, but I have to have a job first. I have to work really hard to get it. I have to, all of that is turning the water off.
Okay.
But the momentum would be the strength of the stream of the water, if you were going to call it that. So as you think of it, and as you're allowing these ideas to come in without any resistance whatsoever, the momentum can keep on getting stronger and stronger and stronger until you can't help yourself but to act upon it. If it's something that comes in, you get a little bit of excitement about it. There's a momentum to the energy. There's a small experience here and there with it. But if there's not enough passion to keep that momentum from building, it'll just, move out of your spectrum because there's no great momentum being created to that energetic experience. But still, the thoughts created it to show up. It will show up at some level.
Okay.
The strength in which it comes in is based on the momentum or the excitement or the love or passion for it.
So is there a momentum in the belief, whether it's a limited belief or, like can or can't? Is there a momentum in I can't, that belief, and I can, that belief? Is there a momentum?
I wouldn't call that a momentum. I would say that is resistance.
Okay.
That is resistance to the momentum. Because if you really want something, that's momentum because you're passionate about it, or you desire it and you love it.
I'm with
You're
you.
creating that movement where you're turning the water all the way on, but then your belief saying, I can't have it, shuts the water and the momentum off.
Okay, that's the resistance.
The energy is still created, yes.
Yes, I'm with you. I got it. I got it. I just got it.
Yes.
Wow.
So that's why being honest with yourself and really, really honestly acknowledging your limited beliefs is so important, because you can pretend and fool the other people, but the universe, the ones that are sending you that energy to have that experience with, cannot be fooled because it's a vibrational match to your energy. And if you have resistance in that vibration, say when you create the idea, I want $1 million, if you were looking at your TV and using its television as an analogy, you would be saying, that idea is on channel 2. But my limited beliefs kicks me on to channel 42 because I believe what they're saying, and they're saying that I have to have all this stuff before I can get that. So you cannot get what's on channel 2 if you're only watching channel 42. There's a separation, and the separation happens due to the fact that you can't vibrationally match up to having $1 million. You're putting resistance in it, and it puts you on a whole different frequency than where the money is created. Because once you have the idea about it, it's created already. The energy exists.
So the idea that comes up is already there.
Your thoughts create energy, yes.
So
your emotions vibrated into being.
Yes.
If you don't see it show up, because there's resistance in the stream of that frequency. So you won't be able to see it because you're on a different frequency bandwidth.
So if someone's saying, let me use an example. I want to lose 5 pounds in weight, and it's not happening. There is a resistance within that's not allowing that to happen. A belief.
That one is a little bit broader, and that's where the beliefs can get more tricky to identify, because in that version of that question, it was, I want to lose 5 pounds. Well, the question would be, why do you want to lose the 5 pounds? Is it because you don't feel like you look good enough? And that's a whole nother belief system that unfolds
Okay.
then. If you believe that you don't look good enough and you'll never be able to achieve looking good, well, that can keep you from losing the 5 pounds. Now, if it's I want to lose 5 pounds because I have to, because my doctor says that I'm not well. Well, do you believe that you're healthy or do you believe that you're in a state of well-beingness? What's more important to you? The idea of getting healthy, if you're just putting in, I want to focus on health, you're kind of saying, I'm not healthy. You're adding that resistance into the stream.
Okay. So where I'm going with,
Saying, I just want to stay in a state of well-beingness, I just want to feel good, then the well-beingness can occur.
but what a lot of people tend to do, and I think I was like this years ago, was we're always looking at the wanting, thinking that that will make us feel better. The wanting of
Exactly.
something.
And that's the other one. Yes. Are you wanting it out of a lack mentality? Are you wanting something because you're having an expectation that if I achieve this one thing, then I'll feel good? Well, that's straight off the bat. Anything that you're thinking, I will be happy when, I will look good when, I will be in a state of health when. All of those say you don't have it right now. So, right off the bat, the way you're looking at it, you're automatically canceling the energy of that which you're asking for because you're saying, I don't have it.
So really,
But it's a belief, though. There's a big difference between just using the words because I don't want somebody to feel like, well, if I just say, then I want to be in a state of well beingness or I want to be in a state of having this already. Just saying the words isn't enough. It's the actual belief that counts. Because a lot of people can try to, speak positive words and positive things happen. Well, that's not necessarily true. It's not the words that create the vibrational match. It's truly your vibration about it.
so it's how
So
you feel.
you can say the words, but if you don't believe the words, then that doesn't mean anything.
So it's still about how you feel. It's about how you feel.
Yes, that's why the emotions vibrated into being. It's not the words vibrating into being, it's the emotions. So if you don't believe that you're happy now, if you say, I'm going to be happy when I get this thing that I want, well, then you're saying, I'm not happy now. And that's what you believe about it, is you believe you're not happy now, that you need this thing. You have this expectation of when I acquire it, then I'll be happy.
So
Well,
that
that's always pushing it away. You're pushing it away rather than attracting it to you.
so that goes back to that loop of thoughts that you was talking about the other day.
Yes, yes. And what a loop of thought is, for those who weren't listening the other day, are habitual patterns, habitual thinking patterns that sometimes when you don't even recognize what you're actually thinking, you just continue to think them. And it's just a loop of thought. In other words, I can't see outside of the way I have been trained to think about this. You don't even know there's another way that you can consider it. You don't even know that you're putting resistance in it because you're so habitually thinking certain things. And it literally, the thoughts just kind of go into a spiral, a loop. And it can't think outside of the loop until you expand the belief about it, until you learn something new or have a new perspective. Those are those aha moments when you allow yourself to see something more. When you say, oh, I can take I've always learned this. I didn't even know there was another way to even think about it. You know, when you realize that it's the state of being is so significant to everything. Your state of being creates matter. Your state of being matters. Your state of being is everything. Because if you believe that you're in a lack mentality, I don't have enough, or I don't have this thing that I want that I think will make me happy, just by that belief about it, you're defining whether you're happy or not. It's not happening to you, it's happening because of you.
Wow.
So what you don't have isn't because you're not given it by the universe. The universe gives us exactly what we believe is true. But that's the key. The universe is following what you really believe rather than what you think you believe.
So it's about understanding who you are.
Yes, that's why the search to find out who you are is so important. It's because, and that's why the honesty is so important, because it is not serving you at all to kind of fluff up the way, I'm going to say that, oh, I feel really good right now because that's what somebody else wants to hear, or you think you should be in that state of mind. You actually have to be in that state of mind. You have to feel good. And then it's doing the work to get yourself in that state of being that you do feel good, and allow the judgments that you've had upon yourself, allow the judgments of others to fall away, allow this moment to be a good moment. And when this moment is a good moment, the universe says, oh, she's having good moments, let's give her more of those. But when you say, I don't have enough right now, well, the universe is saying, oh, let's give her, she doesn't have enough right now. The universe isn't judging it. The universe isn't saying this is what she really meant to think. The universe is just acting on what you believe and giving you exactly what you understand and believe. And that's why expansion happens, is because sometimes new ideas come, and you can't evolve to a new thought if you haven't gone through the process of letting go of the old ones. So that's the evolution of your beingness. So you're expanding more, you get more inspired, you get new ideas. Change is a constant. You're always going to change. The idea is to let the change to happen and not get hung up on insisting that it should always be this way, because that creates friction.
So when we go back to the thoughts, the beliefs, and the emotions, it all stems from knowing who you are first.
Yes.
And how how does someone, I mean, I know for myself, how does someone who wants to know who they are, what is their, because I mean, a lot of people ask me, how do I get in tune with myself? You know, um,
Where do we start?
where do we start? That's the word.
And the idea that if somebody's even listening to this, they've already started. Because
Yes.
because they're already seeking something outside of themselves for answers. They have the answers in their head. I'm not happy with where I am. I want more. That's the starting place. That is the self-discovery journey, if you will.
And that is not a negative way, because they may be feeling that that is not a good place. Just I'm
But
not.
it is a good
But
place
it is
because
a
it's
good
going to
place.
get you to the
Yeah.
next step.
Yeah. 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 Wow. I just realized. Because a lot of people think that that is, and I said it to someone the other day, but I didn't fully grasp it. I said that is the nugget. The nugget is that feeling of, ah, just that. Oh, I don't want to get up this morning. Or do I have to go to work? That is still a little
Nudge.
nudge.
Yeah.
It is,
And
isn't
that's
it?
from your higher self saying there's more to this. You want to be happier. You're not, there's new ideas, new inspirations to act upon. And that I don't want to go to work feeling just means that I want something more. And so that's that drive that you do. What is that? What is that all about? Why am I no longer happy with what I'm doing? That it used to be extremely happy and now I'm not. That's just the evolution of energy. You are getting used to what you did, but energy is always changing. Change is always happening. New inspirations are always coming. You're never going to stay in one spot for very long. So the idea is to let that expansion happen and stop judging it as there's something wrong with me, but be inspired that something brand new is about to occur. If you let it,
Wow.
when you start trying to fight the system, in a sense, when you start making that a difficult process, well, I have to be here because I need the money.
Yeah.
Well, then you're putting resistance in the new energy.
Yeah, because say for example, what came up then was you know, you've been after a promotion, or you feel that change is coming in your job, and it doesn't happen, that in itself will cause resistance and some kind of friction. Um, do you understand what I mean?
Yes, yes, it will
Wow.
and does. But friction, so when we talk about friction, it doesn't have to be viewed as a bad thing.
No.
Those unpleasant thoughts, those unpleasant feelings are just you getting to know who you are more. They're showing up as a red flag. Something's out of alignment. I no longer feel inspired about this or happy about this. It's it's just a little signal saying, look for more. There's something else out there to inspire you. And don't be afraid to look for it and to actually have that experience, because the fear of, well, I can't leave where I am now because everything will fall apart. You wouldn't have had the inspiration if it wasn't meant for something for you to experience, because the inspiration comes from your higher self.
Yes.
And so if you're getting the guidance to be inspired to do something more, well, then it's something that your soul believes that you would feel good about having that experience.
Yes.
And then, as long as you have the knowingness that the universe will support you at any endeavor that you want to do. And we were never taught that that's how it works. We're always taught that you have to fight your way through it,
Mm.
or learn something, or there's certain steps that you have to take to get something, but we were never taught that the universe provides exactly what we're wanting to experience at any given moment.
Wow.
And so this is a way of knowing that. And life experience can show you, as you let go of more and more and more, you'll have more experience show up that teach you just that.
Wow. Wow, that's so interesting. But so much came up there that I wanted to ask about as well.
Go
Um,
ahead.
I like to go, where do people start? Like going back there. So where do they start about wanting to know who they are? Is it by asking questions? Is it about
However they're inspired to do it. Like I said, if they're showing up to listen to something like this, that is the step. If they are driven to or inspired to read books or oversee, make new friends with people who our lives are different than theirs, make those connections. The inspiration, if they follow it, of what they're guided to do will show them. But there's all they can sit on YouTube and actually just let themselves be guided to, to read more or come across different tapes of different people speaking, and those that you really resonate with, which means that really inspire you to get that excited feeling about yourself. You just follow that inspiration. You follow those questions that you have in your mind, or the feeling that you have as you're listening to somebody else, or the feeling that you have as you're listening to a movie, or just stop working so hard and letting yourself off the hook on having to kill yourself to try to earn something, just to, go into nature. Sometimes it's just as much as to go into nature and listen to your own thoughts. Sometimes just knowing that there's something to change is the starting place.
yes.
There's something more.
There is some, yes. Um,
And that something more will show up and you'll be guided. Your higher self will show you exactly what that is, as long as you recognize and act upon what you're being shown. But no matter any experiences, whether they're good or bad, are going to lead you. Because some people will find themselves in situations where their health is compromised, where they're having a cancer struggle or a health issue that comes up. And then that issue changes their lives, because they then learn to appreciate their lives and take that exploration. So, or they have another different kind of tragedy that'll bring that up. There's all kinds of starting places for people,
yes. Yeah.
and all of them are good. So there's not one way to do it over the other. The idea is to whenever you feel like I want to do more comes up, follow that and learn to recognize it as that is that inner guidance that's coming up. Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened. I don't have to judge this as, oh, I'm in poor luck, because, you know, I'm getting a divorce, I don't have any money, I've lost my job, and I've got a health disease. All of those are signs that things need to change in your life and you've been holding on to it for too long. So if you're asking for change, don't be surprised when change happens because it can take on many forms.
Yes, yes.
The idea is to not judge them as terrible things, but knowing that change is occurring and that it is working. And you're learning through what you've allowed to let go of to come in. So it'll take on many, many forms, but it depends on where you're at within all of that and how easy or effortless it will be.
And that is where I came to the realization. I remember a friend saying to me about change being good. And when she said it, I went, oh my gosh, yeah. Because it's only when you can see that something better is coming from that. It may be, um, blissful, joyful, or it could just be enthusiastic. You know, I didn't know all this before, and like your emotional state of being can be in so many ways. From being overwhelmed. If you're in fear or in pain, yeah, and then you're feeling, you know, doubt. So there is an emotional scale. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you will be striving for. And I think when people, because they don't understand that vibrational element of the energy, does that make sense? Because from being fearful,
but they don't recognize that everything that's happening to them isn't bad. It's not. It's not to be judged as good, bad, or indifferent. It's the same. This showed up. So it's a vibrational match to what's going on in your spectrum of where you are right now. It's a reflection of what's going on within you. It's not showing up to curse you, to punish you, to reward you, to honor you. It's showing up as a vibrational match to what you're allowing to come in. So all of those upon them to label something good or bad,
yeah,
isn't serving anybody to have those labels, because the most terrible event in your life can turn out to be the most transformative and inspiring. And how many inspired people do you know that have survived some really life-threatening situation and then they go on to speak about it and to inspire others?
yes, and that's what I say. Yeah, because a lot of people used to say, but I haven't got anything to say, just your experience, that you can share with someone, can inspire someone, because you've come through it in a sense. I think we've just lost Kelly for a moment. Um, Let me just see if we can get Kelly back.
Right there.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Right.
That button just got down. But anyways, so a lot of the times that all events in your life are there to serve you. All of the events in your life that happen are show up for you to take a look at and say, what is it about me that this event is bringing out of me? What is it? What does this mean to me?
Yes.
It's not what it means to your father, your mother, your sister, your spouse, your friend. It's what does this mean to me? What is it bringing out of me? And that's kind of the way you want to look at life, or start looking at life. That will help you the most identify, what do I like and what do I not like. And it sounds like it starts to become a very selfish journey. However,
Yeah.
the most loving thing you can do for others is to learn to love yourself. Because at that point, when you truly allow yourself to be who you are, that projects an energy that others can feel just by your presence. So that journey is I wouldn't say well deserved, but a very important journey to take if you truly want to know who you are and you truly want to be able to achieve self mastery, to have the ability to have life meet your expectations instead of standing in the way of what you want life to be.
Hmm. Okay. Because I remember doing that, and I do that. I always ask myself, what is this about? What is showing up? You know that the amount of conversations we have. Um,
So if you know that everything's shown up as a reflection, something to look at, something to say, okay,
I,
why is this happening?
I think sometimes it's about discerning what is it for me, yeah, and not about what is it about them. Does that make sense? Because
Yeah.
sometimes we can get caught up in they, yeah, and believing that it's their issue, for example, not ours, yeah.
So many people are taught to look at others and see um, what we seek out approval from others,
Oh, we
to
spoke
make
about.
themselves feel better. That's why a lot of people do a lot of, a huge amount of service work, where they're helping others. And if you're doing the help for others so you could get the reward of feeling good because you did it from others, you did it for the wrong reason. You want to do it because that's who you are and that's what you like to do. If you're doing it because I really love the praise that I get for doing this work, you're missing the ball and you're not in alignment because you have an expectation of getting rewarded for doing it. It's not you're doing it because this is an expression of self. I'm doing it so I can feel better. And that's kind of a cheating way of feeling good when you can easily go inside to feel good. That's where the true energy is.
Can I just say? Can you repeat that again? Because about doing it for yourself and doing it for others. Sorry.
A lot of people, whether it's with a friend or whether it's with a spouse, a child, or charity work or service to others, embark on that business of doing stuff for others to make themselves feel good, to kind of earn credits in a self. you know, I feel good because, look how good I made that friend feel by doing this thing that I did done for them. Or I donated this to charity. I feel really good because there's a lot of needy people. And, I donated this item to them, so I feel good about myself.
Okay.
And people say, "Oh my God, you've done such great work. You work in a soup kitchen and serve the hungry people. What a great person you are." That need, and sometimes a lot of the times it's a need to get that positive feedback from others to prove that you're a good person. So we do things to prove that we're a good person, and rather than believe that we're a good person. Because those very same people, a lot of the times, will commit suicide because they're depressed, and they're trying to look for something to fulfill their life for, to make it be on purpose, rather than you know they don't feel like they're worthy enough, that they have to prove it. They have to prove their worthiness,
And
because we learn that as children. Make me happy, and you're a good boy.
yes,
If you do something wrong, I'm going to hit you.
yes, and so really, what it is about people is to know that you are loved and that you are a good person, and do that first, and then
Well, the
it will
idea
it
is
will
to
it
be
will
open.
manifest in itself. All that which will be feeling good.
Yeah, if you do it because, like, even if nobody knew about it, I would still do it, then that's for the right reason. If you're doing it only because people know that you're doing it, then you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Because the idea is to do what you're passionate about, and that's where the most of the energy is. If you're doing it because you need to feel good, well, then there's work that you need to do on yourself. You need to let go of the expectations you have on yourself and what it means to feel good. A lot of people don't even know what that means. What does it mean to love yourself?
Mhm. I didn't. I remember that.
And how you love yourself is to appreciate when you make mistakes, appreciate that if I want to go for a walk, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to honor myself because I'm being told to go for a walk, that I know that'll make me feel better, is to allow yourself to feel good, because that feeling good energy that gets created when you actually allow yourself to do the thing that you want to do, instead of I'm going to sacrifice me to help somebody else.
Yeah,
There's a big difference in that energy that gets created.
that's true. That is so true. And it's easy, and you see it, and it can be easily. Um,
Well, we're taught that that's a selfish mentality, that you're more focused on the self.
yeah, and isn't it funny how people will say you're being selfish, loving yourself? Yeah,
Well, we're taught that, share, always do something, put somebody else before yourself to be a good person. Haven't you ever heard that before?
yeah, and they say that's very common in relationships.
And you hear people of praise always. Oh, they're so selfless. They would think of, they would give you the shirt off their back. And that's good if that's your true joy to do it without needing somebody's approval for doing it, or not wanting or needing that I have to do this to feel good or to be a good person. You're straight off the bat a good person. You're straight off the bat divine perfection. It's our beliefs and what we've been taught to believe about ourselves that is the friction within all of that. That I have to earn the right. I have to do enough. I have to be nice enough to get approval in this world.
Yeah,
And those are expectations. That's the only way I will feel good, if I do this really nice thing for somebody. Because then I will have earned it. I will earn the right to feel good for myself. Because we don't allow ourselves to feel good.
mm, wow. How many times have I and then come to the realization that it wasn't seeking approval,
Yes.
seeking approval of family, of
Or business partners,
business part. Yeah,
co-workers, loved ones,
yeah,
children.
and even in that, I remember like it became a battle because I was battling within myself, you know, wanting to know who I am first, you know, and
Yeah,
and then what would happen would be, so if someone approached me, it would feel like I had to justify who I am, you know.
uh-huh.
So you become, I suppose, again back into that loop of thoughts and the beliefs.
That is complete beliefs that we bought into. This is how I feel good about myself. And if a lot of the times I'll ask people, do you love yourself? And they're, oh yes, I love myself. And then you find out they're full of resentment. And with people at work, they'll hold grudges against people, or they have judgments on what's a good person, what's a bad person. um, all of that, if they're having those thoughts of others, they certainly are having those thoughts of self. So they're comparing
Wow.
themselves with them. And therefore, yes, I love myself because I feel like I'm better than they are, or, you know, but they don't understand what real love for the self is. It's got nothing to do with have you earned it. It's got to do accepting you for who you are and taking a good look at who am I? Do I allow myself to be happy? Do I allow myself to feel good? Do I feel the need to judge others, because if you're feeling the need to judge somebody else, it's only because you're trying to compare yourself to them.
And that's back to
And those
beliefs.
beliefs are not obvious. Those are, when you do this work, you start doing that exploration of, why do I feel this way towards that person? And then you have to take the honest look at yourself. Wow, that's because I need to feel good about myself. So you're looking for the outside to please you and to please them, instead of going within and just being at peace with who you are, with all the bumps and warts and all of it. You love all of you, your shadow self and your positive self.
And I suppose that's where we start, is by that debris that's in the sink, so that the water can flow.
Yes, it's getting rid of the resistance and letting the water flow. Yes.
You know?
And all of those limited beliefs and those perspectives, those judgments, those expectations are doing nothing but getting in the way of the flow of the energy to receive your higher inspiration.
And in loving that as well, unconditionally.
Yeah, loving where you are right now, it's okay, because everything is fixable. So where you are right now is the perfect place for you. Otherwise, you'd be someplace else and you would know other things right. But if you are where you are and you just start with this moment, because this is the moment to focus on, because all of the energy is right now. It's not in your past and it's not in your future. It's here right now. Do you feel good right now? And when you can allow yourself to feel good where you are right now without anything changing, then you're in the flow of your energy. And then you're lined up. Then you're open to receive. Then you're open to see more, have more opportunities, because you'll be aware of the information being sent to you from your more eternal self, who guides you all the time, is always with you, has never, ever been away from you. It's not possible. You are it and it is you. There is no separation. But being able to receive the guidance has been the only thing that's standing in the way of you having exactly what you want. You putting resistance in front of it and saying, no, I have to do all of this stuff to earn it. I have to be a nice person. I have to be of service to others. All of that stuff is keeping you out of the way of who you are. And you may say, well, I like it when people are of service. I like being of service. And that's fine if you're doing it for that reason. It's because it's an expression of who you are. You love doing it and you get to do it and you're excited about doing it. But if you're waiting for the reward to feel better about yourself, or for somebody to see that you're doing it, that's when you're not looking at it with clear eyes. That's when you don't even realize that there's some debris in the way. There's this very subtle difference, but it makes all of the difference
Yes.
to the energy.
Yes. Wow. How interesting that is.
So it's really easy to think that you've cleared out the debris and think that you have done this journey from within. But actually, really, really, really knowing what that journey is, sometimes, we've done a very good job of buying into what others have taught us and not allowed us to be our true selves, not knowing that anything that you're wanting, you can experience. And if the idea has come to you, if you could be supported on that idea.
Okay.
But a lot of the times we have trouble believing that. And so it's perpetual work, getting rid of the debris that stands in the way of you and that thing that you're wanting. And recognizing that right now is a good moment and I choose to be happy. I want my state of being to be more important than anything else, because that is where the energy is, that is where the action is. I'm going to work on myself, I'm going to let go of limited beliefs, and I'm going to start taking care of myself in the way that I'm going to allow myself to be me. I'm not going to worry about what others think. I'm not going to be worried about trying to make myself more important than somebody else, because I just have to be me for who I am right now, and that's enough. and I feel really good right here with any lined up.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And that is a journey. Um,
It is.
that is a journey and a process, and having the process, I think, is amazing. I mean, I've been blessed that I've been able to connect with yourself and others. You know. Um,
And what the process is the process of letting the limited beliefs come up. When
mm,
you make the intention of really aligning yourself with who you are and loving yourself, when you make that intent, things will come up and it'll be different beliefs that will kind of be plunged out of you as the energy is flowing more. All of these limited beliefs kind of come up to the surface. So you can go through some challenging events,
yes.
but they're coming up for you to release them. They're coming up for you to notice them so you can let go of them and expand the belief that you had. So the idea is to let those come in and let it be a nice soothing process. You don't want to do everything all in one day
Mm-hmm.
because it would be very overwhelming. So let them come up. Let yourself give yourself time to enjoy it. Give yourself time to have them come up quite naturally. But the job would be only to be observant and to look around you and realize that what's showing up is a reflection of what you're doing and to notice the beliefs and allow them to expand. And you don't want to force it. You want it to come up quite naturally because you don't want to be confronted with something you're not ready to deal with.
That's right. And I think an example would be um, when I first started speaking in public, it came up, the fear. Yeah, and I remember it came up, the fear. And to soothe that, I made a decision to still go to the event, enjoy the event. And if I didn't feel to do the speaking, I wasn't going to do the speaking, and I was good with that. And that worked out really, 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 really well. Yeah, until the more events that I did. Do you get where I'm going?
Yeah.
And then it just happened. Yeah. So each time was part of a, like, peeling the onion and letting that letting that go, and eventually I'm enjoying it each
More and
time.
more each time.
Yeah.
You're allowing yourself to
Yeah.
just be you more and more each time without worrying about what others think, without be worrying that they don't think you have the credentials to do what you're doing, without worrying about any of that. You're allowing yourself to be you. And it's becoming more and more enjoyable because you're allowing yourself to be okay with who you are. And you're not so hung up on what others think about you and what you think about you. You're just being who you are. And that's why it's becoming more soothing.
Yes. And all the and I was, you remember, all the other things that would come up, like you said, there'd be a lot of things that would come up, whether it would be how somebody else is doing in their life, and I would compare myself, not say it, but it would be a thought,
And that thought is a belief, otherwise it
yeah.
wouldn't be there.
Yeah, and you used to say that to me, and even there, I would still argue, no, because it's real.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I might not have said it, but it was like, no, because that's how they're living their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would still then be wanting to justify why they are that way and I am this way, and maybe I should be like that. Do you know what I mean? But there was
Mhm.
always something that would be saying to me, but they're not feeling good, and I want to feel good. And when you, well, when was it? It was not long ago, and I thought, oh my God, I've never felt like this before. Yeah,
Mhm.
or to laugh. Yeah, you've laughed in the past, but I'd not laughed like I'd laughed before, or to hug a tree and feel that, now I understand when someone says you can't put it in words, because
It's something you have
it,
to experience for yourself
yeah,
because of those beliefs that kind of, they literally cut off your vision to experience other things.
yeah.
They literally don't even let you, you won't even know that they're there.
And I think that's what it's like, and I think you've said it before as well. I think that is what I'm wanting to put across to people, even to join our WOW group. Yeah, sorry, I'm
Yeah.
going there to the WOW group, and I know that I can't make it. I can't. There's no control to experience. You have to experience that for yourself to
Yes,
know
we
who.
can only guide you to it,
Yes,
but it's up to the person to do it for themselves. They must. I mean, even, the archangels, the guides, all of them say we cannot do it for you. We can only guide you to it. And the people, those who think that they have to be blessed by some other outside divine force, don't really know how it works. It doesn't happen to you. It happens because of you. You're allowing your friction to change and expand and not be there anymore. It will allow you to have new experiences. And it's happening because of you. So nobody can do that for you. And nobody can explain. It's like asking somebody to explain what love is.
yeah,
You know when you're in love and you know when you're not in love. And even that is a tricky one because a lot of people think they're in love when it's just an infatuation. It's not real love. It's just I love you right now because you meet my expectations. And then when the expectations change, then they fall out of love with the person. So it was just based on an idea of what that person that they're going to love is. So they don't really love the person, they love the situation. So love is something that you have a hard time explaining, just like the energy and feeling that divine inspiration from within
mm,
is very difficult to explain. It's something that you must experience. And those, though, who are wanting to change in their life and wanting to feel more empowered and more inspired and happier and more joyful and want more out of life are on this journey, and their soul is calling into it. And that's the time to start letting yourself be guided to whoever it is that can give you those experiences. And what we do here is just we want to share that tools, different tools and methodologies and awarenesses that will help those along the way
yeah,
because it's an expression of who we are. We love being that can inspire somebody
yeah,
because we're inspired. We're healers. And to be able to share that with others is very, very, very exciting and joyful for us. So that's why we're doing what we're doing.
yeah. I love it. I love.
It's a part of who you are. And so that's what everybody's journey is going to be. Whatever that ends up being for that person is perfectly fine. But being part of it is great, great, great excitement for me.
Wow. Oh, Kelly, thank you very much. I don't know how long we've been on. Um, are you okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can wrap it up for today and do it again if you
Yes, I'd
want
love
to. So
to. Love to.
check this and hopefully we'll have tons more of these conversations because they're always good.
Absolutely fantastic. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I
It's
can't
been
wait.
awesome.
Yes. Again, like I said on the details of what we speak about, we don't know until we start to talk. So
But
um,
let the guidance come forward.
let the guidance come forward. And till next time, again, to anybody that's listening, thank you very much for tuning in.